You know, Pastor, in this time where we celebrate the birth of Christ and it's festive and it's a time of giving, it's an amazing time. But there are those who I know and you know firsthand that has had a very, very difficult time, whether it's a loss of a loved one, a loss of a job, a loss of health. And during this time, as it can be a time that it's very difficult for a lot of people, how as a pastor would you encourage those who are going through a difficult time during this season? What encouragement would you be able to bring?
Well, I think that sometimes the season is a synthetic emotion anyway. I happen to, unfortunately for some and fortunately for others, be a guy that doesn't put a whole lot of emphasis on Christmas. I mean, I can go without a Christmas tree very easily in my own home. I don't have a wish list, and things of that nature. So for me, Christmas has never really, for many, many years, been a significant day, simply because it's a day that's kind of open to dispute in terms of, is it an actual date versus is it a mythological date? And not in the sense of the birth of Christ, but in the selection of the date, seeing that the church borrowed the date from the pagan Romans and Saturnalia and all of that. And so it's not that I'm opposed to it, I'm not. It's just that I have never seen for the longest time Christmas as being that much of a big quote unquote deal in my life on a personal level. And I'm not negating the value of it or all the goodness of it. I'm not. I'm simply saying from an emotional level, it's never held that much significance to me. Easter does, because I know that Christ was raised on Easter Sunday. Easter does, because that's a date I know and I can celebrate with certainty. So because of that, I'm not really the best person when it comes to saying, how can I help people who, or have a word of encouragement for people who may be going through a downtime, simply because the atmosphere that we have is artificial anyway. The emphasis is on man-made traditions. All you need to do is watch TV or even see some movies that are based on a Christmas theme, and there's never the center of the birth of Christ other than a mention. And so I think a lot of the celebrations that are associated with Christmas are not much different than celebrating somebody else's birthday or whatever. You have a party, you eat, you have friends over and all of that. So what would my advice be? Well, I would suppose that if I were to say I had advice to give to anybody, focus on the actual reality of the birth of Christ. Focus on what that means. Focus on the fact that we're just pilgrims passing through, and that the real destination and where we set our attention, our eyes, our hope, and our faith on is still yet to come. And so take the opportunity, if given it, to spend time with friends, to spend time with family. Don't worry about the gifts that come, and take more pleasure in the gifts you can give, and enjoy the times that you might have, if you should be able to or choose to spend time with friends and family. If you don't have a group of people, friends and family, and you feel alone, use that time to relax in the Lord and to celebrate in your own heart the things that He means to you, and move on to the next day.
Right.
Because I just don't see the importance of stressing over what I didn't get or who I'm not with. I just don't see that. And someone says, well, that's easy for you to say because you're a person surrounded by numbers of people, staff members. I have a growing and a good-sized family. It's easy for you to say, Pastor David, because you don't suffer loneliness. And I would say that's anybody who says that doesn't know what a pastor goes through. Because I often have said, when it comes to simply a sense of being alone, that the senior pastor in the average church is probably the loneliest guy in the church when it comes to that, because very few people, if any, who are not in the ministry and are not full-time pastors would understand what we feel, And so I've learned to take value in the things that matter to me and matter to those who know me and my family and all. And I'm not that guy that you can buy a gift for. I'm just not. My wife knows that about me. I don't put that much stock on gifts. If I get one, bless the Lord. I thank you. I don't. I'm okay with that. See, so my ideas of Christmas, when it comes to how do I encourage somebody who's going through a hard time, they're not the average ideas, John, because that holiday season has not taken the place of my daily walk with Christ. So I enjoy His presence every day. I enjoy His presence on Christmas as well as the month before it, And so I would say take each day at a time, enjoy each day as it's given to you. When given opportunity to spend time with friends, family, church members, be in a church service, take advantage of those things. Enjoy giving. It's more blessed to give than to receive. So begin to learn saying, I just want to see your smile when I give you something, because that gives me greater pleasure than when I receive something. Those are things you learn, and those things are actually, after now a growing longer life that I have experienced, I do have a greater joy when I am able to give something that one of my kids or one of my grandbabies really wanted, and that makes me happy to be able to see them go, oh, I'm happy to receive this. And so it's not wrong to rejoice at being given a gift. It's not wrong to have joy in those things. I think that's part of the season and all of that, but I just don't place that much value on that by itself. I'm getting a much, more of a long-term view of life. I'm closer to heaven's gates now than I've ever been, and so I'm more preparing for the eternal gifts, rewards, if you will, than I am for the Christmas gifts.
Amen. And that's a great sight to keep our eyes on.
That's what I do.
And a lot of times people can get busy with the hustle and bustle of the Christmas season.
Really?
And that can be in itself a difficult thing. But to keep our eyes on Jesus